From Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, welcome to GCN Show.
On this week's GCN Show, we're looking at the training block that got Van der Poel into the form he needed to place third at San Remo and then win the Tour of Flanders.
Gravel, wine and over-under intervals. We're also looking at a bike brand that's in Time Magazine's top 100 companies, a new bike from 3T.
And Si on the red carpet.
Oh yeah.
This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that Lotte Kopecky is the saviour of Belgian cycling. On the day when Belgian men had their worst ever Tour of Flanders, she won the women's race and stole the front page headlines in the process.
Yeah, in the Belgian national champs jersey as well,
Yes.
no less. Now, we also learned that Connor raced his giant-wheeled El Auto for the first time at the weekend. Look at this incredible attack.
I'm not sure it counts as an attack if you only manage to get to the front of the bunch and not away from it, Si.
Yes. I'm not surprised, frankly, though, because with that setup, the aerodynamics probably doing 800 watts right there, isn't it? Anyway, finally this week, we learned that poor Tadej Pogačar not only couldn't manage to drop Mathieu van der Poel despite attacking on just about every climb for the last 60 kilometres of Flanders, he then played poker in the sprint and lost.
Turned out Van der Poel had a pair of aces up his sleeve, didn't it? Whilst Van Baarle and Madouas joined the table late and took all of Pogačar's chips, didn't they?
Yeah, but not Van der Poel's burger, thankfully.
Yeah, I think that's probably enough of poker, chips and burger funds. To make matters worse for Pogačar, though, he also lost his SRM head unit in an early crash, so he had nothing to upload to Strava, so he didn't even take a single KOM.
No. So not only, Dan, did he not have any aces, he didn't have any kings either.
Blimey. Maybe we should jack the whole thing in.
Hey, not before the Queen of the Classics, surely.
Well, I don't think he's competing at Paris-Roubaix, but if he does, he'd be a
Joker.
joker.
The Joker, yes, if he doesn't hit the deck.
Oh my
first.
goodness, cringes ever starts at a GCN show?
Yes.
I think so. But what about Mathieu van der Poel? 15 days before De Ronde, he hadn't raced at all this season. Now he's come third at San Remo, won Flanders and won Dwars door Vlaanderen and a stage of the Coppa e Bartoli between. That must have been some block of training that he did beforehand.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was, and we know it is because he is so open with his Strava uploads that we can see exactly what the training consisted of. Now, I know you went through his data from the Tour of Flanders itself in the Racing News show yesterday, but I've got to say, I found his training data just as interesting, frankly.
Go on.
Well, so what really stood out for me was the difference between the tests that he did at the start and in the middle of a 4-week block in Alicante. On the 26th of February, having been back on the bike for 3 weeks doing steady rides, he tested himself on the Coll de Rates, doing 389 watts for 15 minutes and 35 seconds with an average heart rate of 177.
I reckon we were both capable of those numbers in our prime, weren't we, Si?
I think we were, but unfortunately for us, Van der Poel wasn't at his prime for that test. However, remarkably, just over 2 weeks later, he did another test on a different climb, and this time he averaged 469 watts for 14 minutes 24 seconds, and with an average heart rate slightly lower than the previous test at 176. And he had enough left in the tank to sprint over the top of the climb as well.
Now, for a clue on how he made such a vast improvement, we need look no further than the title of that particular ride, fueled by Brunello di Montalcino, which is some fancy red wine. Little did we know, Si, that he'd subtly given his performance secrets to us last November.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Beer or wine, Dan?
Beer.
I rest my case. Now, genuinely, it is interesting to look at what Van der Poel did on his training block. Reasonably, but not excessively high volume. So he did 27 hours per week for the first 2 weeks, then 19 hours on the third, then 30 hours on the fourth week. Week 5 was 19 hours, but 7 of those were Milan-San Remo.
Where he finished third.
Yes.
Of course. Now, along with that volume, he did include some intensity, but perhaps not quite as much as you would expect.
No, nowhere near, in fact. Told you, zone 2 It's where it's at, clearly.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, Si, it looks like it might work, at least for Mathieu van der Poel. He did quite a lot of over-unders, didn't he? So 1 minute over threshold, 1 minute under, totaling 15 minutes of high intensity in one 6-hour ride. He did 3 lots of 5 minutes of over-unders in a 4-hour ride, and twice did that big 15-minute effort on a 3 and a 6.5-hour ride. But beyond all of that, it was mainly zone 2.
Almost entirely, wasn't it? Plus some gravel riding thrown in for good measure, and without much success, looking at the ride descriptions. Those over-unders, incidentally, involved 40 seconds at 500 watts, followed by 20 seconds at 300 watts, and that's repeated 5 or 6 times.
Sounds easy,
doesn't it?
At the same time, we end up at the age-old question, don't we? Is a rider as good as they are because of what they do, or in spite of what they do?
Ooh. Were we as bad as we were because of what we did, or in spite of what we did?
Another age-old question, Si.
Certainly what seems incredible to me anyway is actually just how little he does. And I don't mean like in terms of volume or wattage, but I think there are a lot of us out there with a fraction of the available time to train and recover who've been absolutely battering ourselves, doing more high intensity in a week than he does.
We need to get to the bottom of this, I think,
We do.
don't we? Not least to stop you from spending every waking hour listening to nerdy training podcasts, Si, which you've been doing recently, haven't you?
Please let's do that, because 2.5 hours of listening to talk about mitochondria is so draining. It actually makes it into training seem like fun. Now, the other thing of interest to me from the Strava rise, Dan, is just how polarised they were. You're saying he's either doing over-under intervals or tempo. I mean, he literally is. When he's doing intervals, he's really meaningfully doing intervals, isn't he? Like 460 watts and above, which even for him, I suspect, is going to be above threshold, isn't it? Yes. But then there's nothing in the middle zones, like sweet spot and threshold and tempo. It's all or not very much, is it?
All or nothing. Yeah, all or not very much. I understand what you're saying. That is something actually I heard Nico Roach referring to on a recent podcast with the Zwift Insider, because he said that he loves doing 3 by 20-minute threshold intervals, but they're not a thing in the cycling world anymore with scientists or coaches. That's part, I guess, of the middle ground that you and I were just talking about, and apparently isn't the most efficient way to train and therefore improve.
No. So I'm going to stick with my zone 2 training, add in some zone 6 training, and then see what the outcome is.
Well, watch out for Si at a monument near you very soon indeed.
Like just a statue, you mean?
Yes. Just before we move on, one ride title from Mathieu van der Poel particularly made me laugh, and it came on the 1st of March. He wrote, "Finally, some good legs," and that was only 4 weeks after he'd hopped back on his bike after a very long layoff due to that back injury.
Yeah, you try waiting for 39 years, Matthew. Anyway, let us know what you all think of this in the comments. How much of Van der Poel's success is down to talent versus training, nature versus nurture? Be very interested to hear your thoughts, and also what you think about his training. Has it surprised you?
I don't think his results have, despite the lack of racing, have they? Now, on to a completely different form of racing now, the UCI Track Champions League. Si was allowed to have a day out in London for the premiere of a very exciting new documentary series.
The UCI Track Champions League launched last year to great acclaim, providing a new flagship series for international track racing. However, it ripped up the rulebook with its brand new format. The best men and women in the world from each speciality, either sprinting or endurance, fight it out to win the night with successive events, whilst also accruing points towards the season-long goal of becoming the champion. The aim was to provide spectacular racing both for live and TV audiences. What we're here for today is the launch of another exciting proposition, which is a brand new documentary series called Back on Track, which takes you behind the scenes of the events, bringing you all of the drama. This is the launch, hence why I'm stood next to the giant trophy. But here in this event, there are all sorts of cycling royalty, including UCI President David Lepartillon. So I'm going to go and see who I can grab. Not literally, that'd be weird, and I think someone like Chris Hoy might have something to say about that. What kind of drama do you think the viewers can see? Like, no one will have seen inside the pits at a track event like that. So do you think people will be surprised at what they find?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be a little surprised. I remember looking over a few times and just seeing a huge boom mic that I hadn't realized was there. So I think there'll be some insights into the riders and the headspace and what the mindset's like going into racing like that.
Sir Chris Hoy, track cycling legend, great to see you. As a motorsports enthusiast, as well as living track cycling legend, you'll be really well positioned to comment. Kind of behind the scenes documentary series like this, everyone is always sort of comparing things to Drive to Survive. Has track cycling got enough about it to compare it to something like an F1 documentary?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you see what Drive to Survive has done to Formula One, the way it's reached out to whole new audiences. It's just really engaged with the fans, and I think that's what we need to do. Track cycling is an incredibly exciting sport to watch as a spectacle, but it's really the stories behind the scenes that make it, that kind of keep you drawn in and keep you a long-term fan. And yeah, when you understand a little bit more about the personalities, about what it means to them, about what they've gone through, it adds to the whole enjoyment of the film, of the spectacle.
Yeah. Now, I think you're needed through there, but just very quickly, I wondered if you have a message from my colleague Ollie Bridgewood. He's just achieved his lifetime ambition of breaking 1,000 watts.
1,000 watts, good man. Is that, which leg is that, the left leg or the right leg?
Excellent. Can
Ollie. Seriously, well done, mate.
How many watts did you put out as a PB?
The trouble was we never used the power cranks at the Olympics, or when you took them off to try and make the bike as light and as just as simple as possible. In training, the highest peak power I saw was about 2,580-ish, I think. But I nearly hit 2,200 about a month ago, so I'm just still hovering just below 2,200 as a knackered old 46-year-old has been. So yeah, come on, Ollie,
wow.
You can do better. I reckon you can do 1,100. Keep trying hard, mate.
With schmoozing done, it was time to head to the screening room and watch Back on Track.
Track cycling has always been about the Olympic Games, the World Championships. And then someone comes along and decides to revolutionize everything.
Welcome to the brand new UCI Track Champions League.
Even from just rolling up to the start line, you get butterflies.
It's not only about who's the strongest rider, but also you really need to use your brains.
She's so fast, she's so strong. I want to beat her.
We are all kind of adrenaline junkies.
Possible to hit the front now. Can she go in front? No.
Wow.
What a race.
Nothing is written in stone.
You just don't know what's right or wrong.
We are still friends after, which is really important.
Coming up to the bell now.
Can't handle it.
Just look at that step. Battling. Oh, they're down into Jeunesse. Moments of the season. Wow, look at that. This is track cycling as you have never seen it before.
I've just snuck out after our sneak preview of episode 1. I'm not going to lie, it is properly good. It's going to be up on GCN Plus, well, as of now, in fact, and then a new episode is going to drop each and every week. However, if I get back inside now, I get to watch episode 2 immediately. So, back to you in the studio.
Next up, your weekly GCN inspiration, your chance to win one of 3 prizes. All you need to do is upload your photos or videos, biking related of course, to the GCN app. And a reminder that if you don't win a prize because your photo or video is not featured, you can still buy those products over on shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com, a link to which you should hopefully be able to see on your screen right now.
Yeah, okay, starting things off in 3rd place for this week, winning a GCN Red Core baseball cap is this one from Captain Bicycle. It's cool handle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, amazing photo.
It is an amazing photo.
The description is, as I work on a seagoing vessel, I don't always have access to my road bike, but I will ride whatever ship's bike I can get my hands on. Using Komoot, I plan routes in ports I call in and discover amazing views like this. I left the ship in darkness at 6 a.m. to climb the nearest mountain in Setúbal, Portugal, to watch the sun go up over the city and port. The climb was heavy, but the Decathlon Elops 520 held up to the 10% climbs. That is mint, isn't it?
Oh, I can't imagine how nice that must be to get off your ship and then ride up a climb even on that bike from Decathlon, because it doesn't really matter what the bike is, does it? When you get out in the fresh like that and have a view and a sunrise like that.
Even on a shit bike like that. Shit bike, I said shit. Anyway.
Very good.
Thanks, mate.
Yes,
what I want to know, Captain Bicycle, is whether or not you're in Lycra for that ride or whether you're in casual kit, given the casual nature of the bike. So let us know. I know it's a bit weird asking what you're wearing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
We should move on second, I think. Who will receive a Keep Cup and a GCN black and yellow racing strip Ass Saver. That goes to Tokyo Kuri. What more is there to say? The perfect place to end my spring ride, the first big tour on my new bike, 590 Ks with more than 4,600 metres of climbing. Today was a gentle pedal around this beautiful city before jumping on the bullet train home.
Nice. That is cool, isn't it? Oh, the cherry blossom. One day I will see the cherry blossom. Although, closer to home, we've got bluebells at the minute.
Are they out, are they?
Yeah, I found some bluebells on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
To rival Japanese cherry blossom.
Lorraine loves bluebells. We have a yearly family picture in front of bluebells, so we need to get out there before they die off.
You do, mate. You do.
The bluebells.
Yeah, right. In first place this week, winning a limited edition GCN Corsa d'Italia T-shirt, which is new, actually. I've never seen it before.
No, I think the other presenters get them first these days. So I think we've gone further down the priority order.
We have, yeah, and a new Keep Cup. Have you got one of those yet?
No.
But we do have Plant-Based Cyclist Cookbooks by Nigel Mitchell, and GCN Navy Core baseball caps, which we also have. Anyway, that's a massive prize, isn't it? Brilliant. Yeah. Anyway, the winner is Jesse Laster. My 4.5-year journey to riding a century. These pictures show how far cycling has taken me in my health journey over the last 4.5 years. I have a rare genetic disorder called familial adenomatous polyopsis that caused me to have my colon removed at age 16 and then was diagnosed with cancer at age 35. In fall 2017, I had even more of my digestive system removed, half my pancreas and part of my stomach and small intestine, in a very difficult surgery called the Whipple procedure. In fall 2020, I started road cycling because my doctor said I need to get active to live a longer life. GCN has provided me with so much road cycling inspiration. I trained hard for my first 100-mile ride, and I did it yesterday around the blacktop highways of East Texas. That is utterly incredible.
Well, we may have provided you with a little bit of inspiration, but that is a much more inspiring story than I think we could ever tell ourselves. So absolutely well deserved to get all of those prizes, Jesse, and long may your health continue to be where it is right now.
Absolutely. God, yeah, fair play, Jesse. That is amazing. Right, on that note, we're going to the set for next week. Keep uploading your inspirational photos or indeed stories like Jesse's to the GCN app. We love reading them. We love being able to share them with all of you lot as well. And you could win a prize potentially as well.
And now it's time for Cycling Shorts.
Cycling Shorts now, and we will start with the news that Trek have been named by Time Magazine as one of the 100 most influential companies in the world. Largely, they say, thanks to the US bike brand's openness on sustainability and their commitment to reducing their footprint.
We've talked about the reduction of plastic in packaging before here on the GCN show, haven't we? But recently, they've gone further in reducing air freight and a few other measures along the way as well.
Yeah, well done, Trek. Quite frankly. In other industry news, Strava have reached an agreement with the organisers of the Tour de France and the Tour de France Femme to be able to have a dedicated section on Strava which will bring together all the rider data for each stage of the races.
Yeah, most of it won't include power except for Mathieu van der Poel, because he's quite cool and it's open for everybody. Apparently 3/4 though of the men's peloton uploaded each stage of the Tour to Strava last year. Now that data is going to be easier for all of us to find in the same place. On to some tech news now, and 3T have launched a brand new bike, in addition to their venerable do-it-all gravel bike, the Exploro.
Yes, this is the Exploro Ultra. Now, like the Race Max that came before it, it has clearance for 61mm wide 650B mountain bike tyres, but whereas the Race Max is aero-optimised for 35 to 42mm wide gravel tyres, this bike has been tweaked and refined to improve the performance around those fatter tyres, and you can fit a dropper seat too.
Happy days.
Absolutely.
Sai and Hank took 2 of them up a mountain last week, so that video will be coming out for you on GCN this weekend.
Yeah, that was an awesome day. We had a lot of fun. Now, make sure you watch it on Sunday, by the way. We are super pleased, by the way, to welcome Science in Sport to GCN as our nutrition partner, which is cool. As GCN viewers, you can now all enjoy 15% off using the code GCN15 when you head over to scienceandsport.com. It's cool.
Happy days. Now we just need sponsorship from Montalcino, don't we? The
Ooh,
wine company.
nice.
And last week you mentioned that legendary pro Andre Greipel is coming to the Global Bike Festival in June, which is a weekend of bike riding, partying, tech, exhibits, anything bike related that you can think of, basically, isn't it?
Yep. Tickets are available from globalbikefestival.com. So come and join us in Austria in June. Remember though that this Wednesday, which is the 6th of April, Andre will be joining Ollie for a Zwift ride at 6 p.m. GMT. It's open to anyone, so you can all come and join Andre and Ollie and find out more about the festival and ask Andre how much his left leg produces in terms of watts.
Plus, anyone that joins will be eligible for a VIP gift to go to the festival, won't they?
Whoa, that's a competition and a half, isn't it? Now, unfortunately, last week, we also learned of the passing of esteemed cycling author and journalist Richard Moore,
who was one of the founding members of the Cycling Podcast, and so probably familiar to many of you for his writing, but also his voice. Now, whether you knew him personally or not, such was his impact in cycling. I think it's fair to say that his loss will be felt in some way by all of us. Our thoughts, of course, go out to his friends and his family. Hack/bodge of the week now. First up, this one that came in from Bo Velo. Whilst adventuring in South America, I tacoed my rear wheel, escaping a pack of feral dogs, and unfortunately the one donkey town in which I landed didn't have a repair shop.
That's a good way to start a story, isn't it?
So I had to resort to hacking skills reminiscent of using Christoph to devise this here righteous DIY truing stand. Now back in the saddle, my wheel has been riding strong and true for the past 900 Ks en route to Patagonia. Ole, hola, Michi.
Nice. I'm also admiring your bike, which is very cool.
Wow, it is cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to tour South America on a bike, let it be a vintage-inspired Mercs. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, the bike's a hack. Let's decide now on the hack/bodge.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it looks a bit like you've taken your rear brake off, at which point I'd kind of say, well, why wasn't that your truing stand? Because that works perfectly.
The brake blocks don't do a bad job, do they?
Do they?
Unless you want to be millimetre perfect.
Yeah. Well, if that's a precision tool, then let it be a hack then.
Okay, well, I'll go with hack as well.
Also, escaping a pack of feral dogs in South America. I mean, that's up there with 3D printing, isn't it? But, like, cool factor.
It's a shame we don't have some zip ties to whip them with. Another use for zip ties. Yeah, hack from 81% of you at home as well.
Yeah, okay, right, next up we've got this one from Winterbike.
Hack.
Is that because it's a beer glass?
Yeah,
okay.
A Belgian beer glass.
Orval. Is that a good one?
Yeah, it's a great beer.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Not
then.
that heavy compared to other. I think just over 6% Orval.
Right. Seems plenty. But anyway, there we go. It's a Dior hub with a 6-speed cassette underneath.
I think an Orval glass deserved an 11-speed cassette.
Really? Not 12-speed?
Almost, yeah.
Really? That good?
It's a really good beer. But anyway, I'm still going with hack.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, I mean, that is cool, actually. It's really cool. I have no idea what you've done or how you've done it, but I mean, it's kind of strangely gothic.
You
drinking.
You definitely want to use a coaster beneath it, wouldn't you? If you had a nice table. But yeah, I'll go with hack. 79% of you at home went with hack for that one as well.
I like the fact that you could change your cassette out depending on how stable you needed it to be. If you put like a 1042 cassette on, that thing just would not tip over, would it? You could have like 10 Orvals and still not knock your glass over.
Wow. I could still probably manage it. Next up, Forisario wrote in with a storage solution. I live.
Four is a riot.
That's the one. That's another one I will not live down forevermore, because I'm sure they're going to keep that in. I live with a couple of other people and needed a place to store my bike that was out of the way. After taking some measurements, I found that the posts of this banister were spaced perfectly, so I got a couple of cheap storage hangers and used the existing hardware to mount them. A bonus is that the hangers fold up when I take my bike down for a ride.
That is cool, actually, isn't it?
That is very cool, yeah.
It is very cool. Yeah, well, without a doubt, that's a hack from me.
Yep, and it's a hack from me as well, Forisario. I don't know why I thought it was French.
Well, you never know, mate, do you? I mean, that's the difficult thing about reading out usernames. Is it could be French, it could be Four is a riot, it could be Forisario, and they're laughing at me, just like Four is a riot.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I saw something. This is not relevant to hack or bodge or indeed cycling. I saw something on Twitter about this woman whose mum had referred to "man get out" at the supermarket when actually she meant "mange too."
Very good.
Yeah, genius. Right then.
It doesn't make me feel much better, but very good. Yes.
Okay, Eric Anderson, AK.
Yeah.
I think that's Eric Anderson, AK. A bathroom light. What? That's incredible. Unsuccessful in finding a bike-themed light for the bathroom in the garage, I made my own using an old triple crank, added some lamp parts and a large bulb. Success!
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hack.
Yeah, it is a hack, isn't it?
Yeah. We're having lots of hacks this week, aren't we?
Yeah.
76% of you voted hack on that one. Then we've had a bodge yet. Like Bike sent us this temporary cycle lane. The main cycle lane is closed due to some works and the main road on the right off limits for cyclists. So the Dutch administration built this temporary cycle lane. In any other country, this for sure would be a luxurious cycle lane. Here it's just a temporary fix for a few months. Wow. As if you needed to make us any more jealous about your cycling infrastructure over in the Netherlands.
That is incredible, isn't it? I note, by the way, for Dutch standard, this is pretty bumpy. A new bike lane has popped up on my commute home, and I have no idea what they used to smooth it out. It's ridiculously bumpy. I swear it was some guy with a shovel. Dong, dong. Anyway, but yeah. So there we go. That's fantastic, without a doubt.
Well, it's got to be a hack, and it is with all but 7% of you at home.
Yeah. Okay. And then finally, we got this one sent in by Dan Joyd, is that one? Dan
Yes.
Joyd?
Hack.
Dan Lloyd beer mats. Our graphic design team came up with bespoke beer mats for each of the contributors for our How to Win Flanders film on GCN+. How cool are they? Very cool, actually, aren't they?
Yeah, I've put, if anyone votes bodge, I will hunt you down. 13% of people voted bodge, probably more than would have done if I hadn't written that.
I was going to say, yeah,
on my GCN
13% of people are there going, oh, Dan's going to go and hunt me down.
They are very cool, though. The graphics team did a fantastic job on them. As you can see in the pictures here, we did one for Nico Matin with the Quaremont beer, Andreas Clear, Hugo Kurovitz, and all the other contributors as well. They look brilliant. It'd be great if we could sell them, but unfortunately we need to get rights from the people that contributed, and indeed the beer companies whose logos we kind of copied. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But the How to Win Flanders documentary is now up on GCN+, as it has been for just over a week. If you haven't watched it, it's gone down quite well, hasn't it? And of course, I loved being there, and especially visiting the brewery.
Yes, absolutely. Have we ever had GCN beer mats? Feels like
I think we have, yeah.
It feels like something we should have had and probably should have again. Now, incidentally, obviously, you've already seen the Track Champions League documentary teaser that we had earlier on in the show. There's another GCN+ film coming out this week. Truly, astoundingly inspirational. A woman called Ottilie Quince, who is a British woman based out in Mallorca now, and her story and her life in cycling is utterly remarkable. So do make sure you check that one out as well. It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comments section down below this video, and we'll pick a winner next week. We will give you the photo that you're captioning in just a moment, but results time first. This is what you had last week. That's Daniel Oss picking himself up out of a particularly muddy ditch in Belgium.
And the winner is Austin J. Captain Competition, meet GCN's newest sponsor, Muckos.
Hey! Genuinely, I saw that, laughed out loud, and took a screenshot there and then. So thank you very much, Austin J. Yeah, I like that.
Send us a message on Facebook and we will get that bottle out to you if you give us your address.
Yeah.
This week's photo comes from the team's presentation at the Tour of the Basque Country, which is live all week on GCN+ in all territories. It's Rigoberto Urán with his teammate, Ukrainian Mark Padun. I will get you started. Urán? You rang?
Hey! See what you did there? Yeah.
Like it?
Nice. I like the prop as well.
What? Yeah.
Is it like it's not often we get a caption competition with a real life prop. So yeah, I don't know how you're going to tackle that in the comment section. Is it a little asterisk like pulls out phone?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so you do it like that if you want.
If you want to use a prop with your caption competition entry.
Otherwise, Dan will be cheating if he grabs the bottle next week. No, there we go then. See what you can do with that photo. Can you beat Lloydie?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
We've got some cracking videos coming up for you on GCN over this week. But first up, some comments that came under last week's video, with the first one under spinning versus grinding. Stuart Mayer or Bear? OK, Mr. Dunn, what colour would you like on your new bike? Connor, yes. Or Bear, sorry, Mr. Dunn, what colour was that? Connor, all of them.
Yes, it does look a little bit like that, doesn't it? But there we go. If anyone can pull that off, it's Connor. Then under the Hank's 100 squats a day for 30 days video, SMS Sweeney 1303. Imagine how much better his improvement would have been if his training actually taught him to squat. Hank did no squats. They were partial and not even to parallel. There were a fair few people critiquing Hank's squatting.
Yeah, it turns out he did 3,000, didn't it?
Hot Sky 83 though, Hank is the only GCN presenter who, brackets, while very fit, close brackets, doesn't look like he was found in the woods after 3 months of not eating.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to say, but I don't know who you've offended most, actually, Hank or the rest of us. But there we go.
The rest of us, I think.
Yeah.
Scott Bolton wrote, Hank is the only cyclist I know who can lift 10 kilograms with one hand.
Poor old Ollie was in the gym the other day, would you believe? And he tried to lift 20 kilos and then dropped it on his foot.
No!
So yeah, get well soon, Ollie, who is limping about because of a gym injury.
Why was he trying to pick up 20 kilograms?
I don't know, presumably move it out of the way of the 5 kilo weights that he was hoping to lift.
To get to the plastic dumbbells.
But yeah, poor guy. I mean, that is brutal, isn't it? Nothing broken, so that's good. Yeah.
Just the ego. Anyway, Amazon bike versus cobbles. Stethoscopes wrote in saying, a sports bra hasn't yet been invented that would allow me to safely ride up those cobbles on any bike. Let alone that Amazon one.
Yeah. And then under GCN's new bike that we launched on Friday, El Zvitkanal, a bus actually has great aerodynamics. This is to Connor's reference about the aerodynamics of a bus. He says, I am a bus driver, and no matter the headwind, I can maintain faster speeds with the bus as opposed to my road bike.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that is a good point. It's hard to argue with that kind of physics, isn't it?
It is. Some people beneath that video, I noticed though, seem to think that it was an April Fool's video, which is weird. I guess the next time we'll need to carefully choose the day with which we release our brand new bike.
That is true, yeah.
Black Dog 2006, but I love the fact that someone somehow actually got this bike together. Epic.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Peter, our long-suffering, exceedingly cool and amazing GCN mechanic who put it together, even down to the dropper post lever, which was just, So thank you, Peter.
Even down to the Weetabix. Right, coming up for you on the channel this week on Wednesday, how to complete your longest ride. Zone 2, presumably.
Hopefully, yeah.
You'll have to find out more when that one comes out tomorrow. On Thursday, 5 easy things about pro cycling. That must have been quite a hard list to come up with.
I was going to say, they probably asked Van der Poel and Pogacar, and it included winning races, as opposed to asking the rest of us, because there wasn't much. Friday, we've got a gravel race with a difference. This is the GCN Presenter Challenge gravel race, so you've got to check that one out. And then on Sunday, we told you about it earlier, there was the brand new 3T Explorer Ultra, which Hank and I took up a mountain.
Very nice. Yeah. Beyond what's on the GCN channel, on GCN Plus, you mentioned a tour of the Basque Country, but there is more racing. We've got some one-day classics for you as well. On Wednesday, it's the Schelder Praise of the men's race for the first time ever, live coverage of the women's Schelder Praise. On Sunday, it's not Roubaix this year, postponed by a week due to French elections. So instead, we have the men's and the women's Amstel Gold races, which are always worth a watch. Van der Poel might be competing there as well. And starting on Sunday, the Tour of Turkey, which runs for 8 days. So plenty more to feast your eyes on.
Is Pogacar riding Amstel Gold?
I don't think so. I think he's doing Flèche en Liège, but I'm not sure.
And maybe Paris-Roubaix.
Well, he did tweet that with a question mark at the end. I think he was having us all on and joking around, but...
like a Dr. Evil gif or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Playing with us.
Well, tune in and find out on Sunday. Dan, I think that is us for this week, isn't it?
I think that's the end of the GCN show, yes. So I'm going to shut my laptop lid down. Thank you once again for watching. We'll see you again next week.